Hey, Leos. This is your home light security reading for the month of June. I do apologize that I am late. I had some stuff come up. Couldn't help it. Just running a little bit late trying to get some stuff done for you guys. I'm going to go into the astrology, give you a little bit of what I'm getting from spirit, see what the cards have to say, and then we'll see where it goes. Is it this card or this card? That already started shuffling when I started it. All right, the thing is, Leos, you're about to start walking into your 12th house. And the first thing that's coming out is Spirit is giving me a whole lot of green energy. They're giving me energy in the feet, especially the heels. And it has to do with incoming energy. And what they're saying is, seriously, the self-judgment, seriously, is what I'm getting. Is you're being too hard on yourself. You're overanalyzing. You're pulling up too much energy. You're pulling too much energy in. This is also where we start to pull in guilt, grief, sorrow, shame, blame. This is where the 12th house starts to have a lot of its issues, and the legs, the 10th, 11th, and 12th house have a lot of their issues in, the ego energies. And I'm not saying that these are bad. It's like forewarning signs. It's saying watch your guilt, because Spirit's been telling me left and right, when you know you're doing what's right and you're believing in your heart and your soul, there's no guilt. That's just some bullshit lie that you gave yourself through all of these different lives, through all of time, to make yourself feel bad, put yourself down, make yourself doubt. And the first thing I'm constantly given over and over and over again from Metatron is take the freaking doubt out. I mean, it's pretty much the only thing. I mean, I deal with Metatron from time to time, but that's mainly the Metatron just comes in and gives me a dirty look and is like, do we have to have this conversation again? Take the doubt out. So this is stop judging yourself on low vibrations. Don't put yourself in your own guilt trip, because I feel like you've had energy just flinging everywhere. Lord knows I have, and I'm a Leo. And it's not really bad. It's just can't keep up with it. But I also know on the solstice, we technically move into our 12th house. Now, the first thing out from the cards, and I have 2 decks at least that are talking. And this is authority, hunt, and natural balance. The master of the great hunt. And for me, what this is, mastering yourself. Mastering yourself, but I don't mean like 3-dimensionally. I mean soulfully. I mean soulfully, manifestingly, vibrationally. I was trying to decide if I was going to tell you something. That's what that was about. Okay. I tell people all the time. I just got, for some of you, hold on, way too much bitterness and blame. Oh my God, did I just get shot in the neck with that? Some of you are holding on to too much bitterness and blame, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities that we tap into, that we accidentally tap into, like in a way to make ourselves feel better. It's like we overanalyze that shit, and it's not good. And what I was thinking when I got that stabbing in the neck from Spirit, is, I'll just share it with you, is I always say, and it has to do with this card. It has to do with the mastering of the great hunt. Is I've taught many people many times that, I've always said, sometimes when I'm pissed off is when my vibrations are at their highest. And for a long time, I used to be like, I'm not evil. So why, when I'm pissed, do I literally feel them in my fingers and my legs and everything? Not just adrenaline, but I can feel the vibration at its most powerful, strong. And I used to say, up until last night, I used to say, that's because you're starting to see truth where you were in denial. where you were lying to yourself. If you was in denial and you were lying to yourself and you're finally being shown the truth, well, yeah, it's going to piss you off. It's making you vibrate in truth. But here's the thing, and this has to do with what I mean by mastering of the great hunt, mastering of your own authority, the hunt itself, and natural balance. If I came to my understanding last night, that's not just all that it was. The vibration when I'm angry would be at its highest vibration, not just because of truth, but think about, and this goes for everyone, think about how much energy you are exerting when you're mad. Now, this is also where it can weirdly flip-flop. And what I mean by that is, maybe you're mad, but you're seeing the truth. But depending on who you are as a person, the truth may set you free in a positive way. And sometimes the truth makes you act a little bit nutty, and we choose the reward or the punishment. We choose what our actions will be. Sometimes our actions are not very good actions. Sometimes there's consequences for the actions, and we wish we didn't make those consequences. We didn't make those actions because now the repercussions are we don't like. But what I'm saying is when you're angry and that vibration is at its highest and you're exerting that energy, think about how much energy you're exerting. How much energy you are literally... I was explaining it to somebody last night. I says, when you're angry and you're exerting all that energy, or if you're a sports person and you're exerting all that energy, point is, when you're exerting the energy with the emotional feel, whether it's positive or negative, kind of going, let me ring up God with an emergency hotline. Yo, I need help in this area. But then the energy that you're normally putting out, without exerting the energy, well, that's not on an emergency hotline. So see, mastering yourself, your authority, mastering your energy, mastering your balance has more to do with just your thinking, more to do with your actions, more than just your emotions. It's a calling card of what you're asking also for in manifestation. The hunt. What are you hunting for? Mastering where you're taking your energy. Like I said, we're coming into the 12th house, and we're really going to start evaluating some of that pity party stuff, some of that grief, sorrow, shame, blame, guilt, insecurities, because that's what the 12th house is. It's not technically starting until the sun goes into Cancer on the solstice. But what, that's a week away? Well, right now you're on the full moon, which we'll get to the full moon when I get there. You also have Duna or Dana, mother of creation, coming through. Rebirth. This is motherhood. My mouth won't work. Curiosity. You can see I'm having trouble. creation. So, but this is about rebirth. This is about coming back into that power. Taking that crone energy, Mother Maiden crone, learning from everything you've been doing all this far in the hunt to become the mother, the crone of all creation. This is reclaiming your power. This is a transformation, because what I'm getting next is Mother of the Dawn. From more or less Mother of the Dark to Mother of the Dawn, going full circle. This is definitely a wonderful thing, going into beauty and compassion. You know what I really just heard? This is the story of Sekhmet and Hathor. There's many stories where, or in Egyptian and Hindu, where, they switch, where they were like the killer goddess, and in one form and a protective goddess, but then they switched to a loving goddess. They switched to a different type of a mother form, which is more or less mother, maiden, crone. And that's what this is coming through a major transformation. Let me check this other deck I have here that was coming out, and then we'll get into the astrology. What else does Leo need to hear for the month? Thank you. First off, they give me, which is like I said, you're getting ready to go into the 12th house. They're giving us the warning that yes, some of us Leos are definitely about to personally, like I always say when I sell my oils and I do the retrograde stuff, and I'm helping people, I'm like, just because a planet is or isn't in retrograde does not mean that you are or are not. They're saying, in general, Leos, you guys are about to go in retrograde, meaning we're about to do some inward evaluation. And we're about to, really discover new parts of ourselves and what needs to be healed by understanding some of that shadow work. But then what comes up is a Wa, which is a Hebrew letter, technically, and his connection with the creative power, the creative reality. Not Wa, it's the Vav, sorry. And it is the dawning down of the light. The pulling, like in the full moon, when you're pulling the moon energy down into you, you're pulling the lesson down, you're pulling the knowledge down. It is the ray of light that connects you to all things. It is in a form, the best way of explaining what the Vav would be also is when you go fishing. Because I use this on my star card when I speak to people on tarot. Because tarot is also, for the star card, is also the Vav, which is, in a way, we're getting retrograde with the star. And what I say is, if you're going fishing and you throw the line out, there's the hook on the end. Without the hook, you're not catching anything. The Vav is the hook. So what are you in your 12th house going to be hooking? Are you hooking to the light that's bringing you into understanding everything and full circle? Just like the tarot was saying. The cards over here. Or are you not getting the light because you're not actually doing that part of the work? So, this feels like it's definitely a big lesson, a big healing, which ultimately is going to catapult you forward. But it's going to take some work because, like I said, the 12th house is at least a month. And depending on when you're born, will depend on when you clear that 12th house. Like, I'm born on July 28th. So technically, I'm not going to clear that until at least July 28th. I'll still be in my 12th. So I try to tell people to help them understand, depending on what day you were born, for whatever month you're in, when you're in that 12th of the month of whatever house you're walking through, on typically around the day you were born is when you clear one house and you walk into the next. Now, you'll be reborn on your birthday, so that's when you leave the 12th house and you go into your first. Now, let's get into the astrology itself. Like I've been saying the whole time, I always try to start with where the sun is and work our way around. Well, the sun has been in the 11th house. And on the solstice, it will move into our 12th house. But for the rest of this month, it's been in the 11th house, illuminating your goals, dreams, and ambitions, and your either capability to connect with it and start creating it or not. Because it also is the outer community. It is the groups, the memberships, the people that you keep. And if they are in sync with the goals, the dreams, the ambitions, and where you're trying to take your life or not. Are they taking from the time and energy you need into creating that? Is there a healthy balance here? So it is magnifying your wishes and your dreams, but it also has everything to do with the people that are in your life that alternately can pat you on your back, give you the ideas, help you or not help you. Just by being part of your life, bring yourself into belief creation and breathing the goals, dreams, and ambitions into reality. Now, the sun has been illuminating where your good and your bad is here, where it's been working for you and where you've got some things you have to tweak, where, you have been a little bit in self-sabotage versus self-success, and how that manifestation is going, and who you're putting your time and your energy into to help you in your life as you're breathing this into reality. Well, the sun has been walking through here. You're also going to have your new moon here, but your new moon on the 28th, which is in Gemini, will not have the sun there anymore. But what it will have is Mercury and Venus at that time. So this is saying, make sure that during this full moon, you're really getting an overall open-eyed scale. So that by the time you get to the new moon, anything that's had to be adjusted, you've been able to successfully bring into focus, clarity, value, center, and then start to reprogram that out. Because that's what this new moon at the end of the month will be about. Gemini is Jekyll and Hyde, and speaking to you about both logic and emotion and finding balance in what it takes to create those goals, dreams, and ambitions, as well as what people, places, and things are helping or hindering that. And like I said, through the full moon right now, it is directly in opposition of where this new moon will take place at the end of the month. So the full moon at the moment is probably showing you where things are in opposition, which is also for you, your fourth house, which is where your inner emotional security is getting in the way, or your lack thereof it, your lack of personal security, self-belief, over-judging yourself, tapping into that bitterness and blame and grief, sorrow, shame, blame, and insecurities, where you have to set these boundaries, where you have to come into the mastery of your energy, of your, just like I said, the hunt, the master of the great hunt, the authority, and knowing how to create that vibration by the pulse that you put out. When you are exerting your energy, when you're upset, angry, we exert so much energy, we open up a calling card to the vibration. Ding, ding, ding. It's like ringing the bell to manifestation. This is what I want. But when you're not exerting that energy, you have to work 3 times as hard. So this has right now everything to do with understanding your emotional indifference, because it's Cancer versus, not Cancer, I mean, it's Sagittarius. But for you, it's the 4th house, which is ruled normally by Cancer, which is that emotional indifference. Speaking of, that inner emotional security, touching base on the roots of who and what you are, touching base on, what makes you feel comfortable and secure versus what you don't, the home, the roof, the bills being paid, all of this good stuff versus the dreams, the goals, the ambitions, and can we bring them into life? This is balancing with logic and emotion, not one or the other, and learning where we are in our own way with our manifesting so that we can correct these things and actually make it move forward next month and really work for us. It's like I said, it's a lot of Jekyll and Hyde and understanding yourself, especially as you're entering the 12th house. Now, your 12th house, again, we've been discussing that the whole time, but what I haven't been discussing is you have Ceres here and you have Lilith here. This is really going to make this one powerful. Not good or bad, but powerful. Because it all depends on you and what work you're willing to do on if it's good or bad. And even if it feels like it's rough or uncomfortable, that doesn't mean that it's bad. It might be very good. Maybe that you really worked through some rough shit. Because your 12th house is Cancer. Your 12th house right now has Lilith in it. And Lilith is not strong here. She's submissive here. This is where she's ready to even go more into escape. I don't want to deal with it. I'll just pretend that it didn't happen and then it won't happen. Bullshit. It'll only get worse. It'll be like saying, you know, watching the multiplying happen. Because Lilith, like I said, is submissive in Cancer. In your 12th house, that's your grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurity, self-sabotage, escape, going after the cravings, anything you can do to tell yourself that it's okay when it's not, instead of actually just sucking it up and doing what you have to do. But understanding that your vibration and the energy that you're putting out has everything to do with the way it manifests. So when you understand it on that bigger concept, you can shift this healing a little bit. Because you also have Ceres here, which speaks to you about nurturing the healing or neglecting the healing. So you have two of them going into neglect, submissiveness, and if you do that, I'm warning you, it's going to throw you back all the way up until, May of next year. I'm not even lying. So this is about really identifying with yourself on more, levels of where you have been submissive, where you have been in denial, where you haven't, you've chosen to look the other way instead of really facing yourself down. And if you're doing this, then it's going to come very clean, help you get the healing, and it's going to help you get past the pride, overcome the doubt of your own path, and help you get back on board strength and get back to that Leo that you are. But this one with Ceres here and Lilith here is really going to ask you where you're being submissive and causing even more distraction, which is ultimately going to be far more sabotage if you are in denial. Now, as you move into your 4th house, this is where your South Node is. And the South Node is everything you're good at, but it's not good for you. So this is where are you nurturing your inner emotional security with bullshit? Yeah, I said bullshit. Where are you finding comfort in comfort and telling yourself that that's just fine? Because it's not. It's like I was saying, I speak to you guys all the time. I take care of my mom, and and she has dementia, and I'm elderly and all of this, and I have a very good upfront relationship with her about everything that I'm going through and my emotions and what she's going through about what ultimately will be her death. And as we're starting to grow, and why not? Because I know when she dies, I will grieve, but I don't want to have guilt. I don't want to have repressed anger and stuff. And so I live every moment I can with her as sacred as I can, but that doesn't mean that I don't have my moments I snap. That doesn't mean that I don't have moments that, I'm worried that maybe I reflected wrong and I hurt her feelings with something. And when it dawned on me last night, she's not getting any of that. She knows I love her. She knows, sometimes I might say things that, in the heat of frustration and anxiety and stuff, I may not be the nicest of Leos. I mean, come on, but it's me who's afraid that I am being where I'm afraid that I'm coming off wrong, or that I'm afraid so much of my own wanting to make sure that I'm upfront and honest and good with her, that I threaten my own being upset with myself for actually feeling that way. You know what I'm saying? It's coming full circle and understanding mindfully where you're trying to go with this. The South Node is your inner emotional security. And where are you neglecting it? Where are you tapping in wrong? Where are you putting your head in the ground, like that bird or whatever, but sweeping the dust under the carpet and going, if I just ignore it, then everything will be fine. No, this is inner emotional security. This is the roots of who and what you are. This is what creates and defines who and what you are. This is not just the home and the ideas of the products that, the table, the clothing, the glasses, the bills being paid, but the soul. And this is reflecting deeply on the inner emotional security of the soul, because the soul is perfect. It's the ego that's stupid. This is asking us in that inner emotional security, where do we beat ourselves up? Where do we put ourselves down? Where do we put too much judgment in? And where do we ultimately create our own self-sabotage because of it? And then we tell ourselves that it's okay. It's not. It's acknowledging these things and breaking these habits. This energy is not getting along with that Saturn or that Taurus energy, which happens to be seven and 10. The relationships that you have with others, the relationships that you have with yourself within your own emotional security, and what the outer world's part is in it. It is asking you to redirect the rules, the walls, the boundaries, the trial and error, try new ways within the relationships by believing in nourishing that inner emotional security, acknowledging where you're neglecting it, or you're just not doing a good job in it. You're giving too much power to the other people in the relationship, and then in the outer world as well. And where you're feeling like the authority is missing. Which is the 10th house. Your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your career. So where is it making you feel like you're being viewed? Where is it making you feel like your manifestation is or isn't working within these relationships? Where does it feel like you're self-sabotaging because of something else going on within the relationship that's ultimately making you more insecure? This is tapping into, where's the truth here? Where is the missing link of what you're not seeing? So that you can adjust it, tweak it, see your own personal healing, change that inner judgment, and then mature and grow. Now, your 8th and your 9th house. Your 8th house is where Neptune is about to go retrograde at the end of the month. This all for you has to do with rules, walls, and boundaries, but it's about setting it in new ways. It's about setting it in manifesting ways, setting it in vibrational ways, setting it past just the way you think, the way you act, your actions. Because Neptune is your magic. It's in the 8th house. I just told you about how these relationships are affecting how your overall view is creating your life around you and your manifestation, whether it's being nurtured or neglected, according to that inner emotional security. Well, the 8th house is about the ability to rebirth. And it's Neptune going shadow right before it goes retrograde. Neptune doesn't care if he gives you positive magic or negative magic. He just gives you magic, whatever it is that you have, whatever you're feeding him. And it's the 12th house, universally the 8th house. So this is saying, do not be submissive, do not be naive. This is taking responsibility, grounding that energy, and deciding how to redirect it. But not just in the outer world, not just in your relationships. And like I keep saying, the way that you're bringing in your vibration and you're exerting your energy. Know your energy. Know your vibration. And start readdressing this stuff. Because this has all to do with what you're going to be walking through with that 12th house as well. As you go into your 8th house, this is where Jupiter is. Jupiter is the higher self. Not 8th house, your 9th house. Your 9th house, and this is where Jupiter is, which I always say, even though it's normally in Sagittarius, that he's the higher self. But he really is the higher self for you in Aries. And you've got Mars and Chiron here. Mars is the courage to face the spirit of you that you don't know of you. It's your inner SWAT team. It's your inner courage. It's your inner sacral chakra. It's your inner belly dancer. How you feel about yourself. Breathing, nurturing energy into yourself. But Chiron's here also. The wounded healer. Plus you have Eris here. Trouble, toil, and strife. All in your belief system. All in your ethics and morals. All in, I love too much, I give too much away, and then what did I get to show for it? This is saying where you're exerting your energy again, where are you vibrating wrong, where are you not necessarily dotting your T's, crossing your I's, however you want to put it. You know, I said that backwards. But you know what I'm saying. You have abundance, higher self, Chiron, and Mercury. And Mars, bringing courage into the higher self, of the courage of finally getting to know parts of yourself that you've been, whether you're afraid of or you've just been avoiding and not knowing, like they've been over in a corner. Skeletons in the closet. This is helping us find them and bring them out so that you can actually allow the higher self to teach you the lesson. So this is actually a good thing, but like I said, it could be very overwhelming energies because of the way the planets are lined up. And then we come into your 10th house, which is a loaded house right now. Not your 10th house. Yeah, your 10th house. The authority, the outer world, and where it's touching base on Venus, North Node, Uranus, and Pallas. Athena, the warrior goddess, how you're thinking, your strategic thinking of bringing your power to the outer world, your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your financial success and social foundations, which directly is going to be speaking to the groups and memberships that you have as well. How can you analyze and create and bring it into fruition? Are you stepping into your creative juices and your authenticity, bringing in what makes you not better but different, why somebody should view you, and honor, your ethics, your morals, your ideas, your dreams, your art, your creations, your uniqueness. But you also have Venus here up until right near the end of the month, where she's speaking to you about where you're very uncomfortable about it and what makes you feel good. Remember, the only way to be valued is to give people a chance to value you and to step out of the comfort zone and learn how to value yourself by trying the new things and showing the world of it. Even though you're going through a very delicate time of getting ready to walk through your 12th house. So ultimately, if you're not passing judgment on yourself in negative ways, and you're allowing your intuition, and you're bringing in energies and understanding how to balance this is going to be a creative time that is going to start to move these energies forward, but definitely start to bring it into fruition and show you a whole new world. But it has to do with getting through that 12th house and that self-judgment. I love you guys. Bye.